disappointment. My Townsend gonna end up. Ooh-hoo. What's up, everyone? Tomorrow is the beginning of season 20 of Blaseball, which means it's time for me to tell you what happened in season 18 and 19, but perhaps it will be faster to tell you what didn't happen in season 18 and 19. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not actually going to do that. It's time for the Blaseball Roundup. Season 18 of Blaseball began with the ribbon cutting of not one, but two brand new ILB facilities. Blaseball fans may now visit a library that makes archives of Blaseball's ancient history available to the public. We reached out to the league historian to ask if these records would be in any way biased in favour of certain figures in ILB management or teams, players, eras or seasons, to which they replied, Riptide overtakes the current, the stacks repeat, rhyme, spinning history, ends over ends over ends. So you'd be forgiven for thinking they didn't answer our question, but I'm sure they did. One document already released refers to the first ever team franchise in Blaseball history, the Alaskan Immortals, who played in something called the Ultra League. The other facility that opened is the new gift shop. This allows different Blaseball teams to buy one another gifts. Basically, fans can now collaborate on their team's wish list of loot, boosts, traits, and tweaks, and also put their money into funding these wish lists for other teams. It sort of resembles like a mandatory popularity contest. However, what ended up getting the most attention were the new replicas for sale, available in the gift shop. In the last roundup, you'll remember that York Silk and Nagomi McDaniel achieved legendary status and were placed in Blaseball's vault, and I was worried they wouldn't be playing anymore. A lesson to always believe in ILB management. York Silk and Nagomi McDaniel are now available for any team to rent from the gift shop for the season as collectible replicas. I got a bit excited, so I made my own. Season 18 saw York Silk 2 joining the Ohio Worms, York Silk 3 on the Moist Talkers, Nagomi 2 on the Flowers, Nagomi 3 on the Georges, and Chorby Souls 2 through 4 on the Dale, Crabs, and Millennials. Chorby was put in the vault for safety reasons on account of their massive soul. Now, these teams tried to take Chorby out of the vault with the noble goal of making things unsafe. However, interestingly, replicas of Chorby Soul have no soul. But not all uses of these players have been quite so commendable. Since season 18, a lot more players have been vaulted, and in season 19, an exchange between the Baltimore Crabs and the Seattle Garages saw the Crabs receiving speedy base runner Avila Guzman, and the Seattle Garages receiving a replica of Alden Cash Money with 8 days left to live. Other notable events in season 18, the Miami Dale and the Ohio Worms broke the record for the longest game in Blaseball history. Here's one chart from Corvus of the Society of Internet Blaseball Research showing games and how long they were this season. Tied at 3 runs each after the 9th inning, the teams proceeded to play for another 15 innings. Here's another chart from Frostbird of Cyber. So who won this game? It's not important, but any fans watching it definitely lost. Another huge loser in season 18 was pitcher Nerd Pacheco of the Philly Pies. Nerd had been trapped inside a giant peanut shell and was wheeled between matches for almost 600 days before finally being pecked free by birds in season 18 and emerging with a new super allergy to peanuts. Then, almost immediately, Pacheco swallowed a stray peanut and suffered the first super allergic reaction in ILB history, dropping from 15.9 stars to 0.6 and single-handedly dragging the Pies out of yet another postseason. This is extra funny because of all the Philly fans who emailed the roundup to tell us that Nerd Pacheco had been unshelved. Now, was that a battery? Do that again! I dare you! Do that again! Your finals for season 18 saw the core mechanics take on the Boston Flowers, and this was a close series between two teams with deadly pitching rotations before the core finally threw a wrench in the Flowers in a 5th and final game, proving that the core can perhaps fix anything because they were last in their league the season before, and perhaps that the Flowers still have a bit more growing to do. With season 18 finished, in season 19, the attention turned from the fans to a conflict within ILB management. But first, a brief primer on Blaseball managers past and present. The discipline era of Blaseball was overseen by the Shelled One, whose contributions to the league could primarily be described as bellowing, kidnapping players to create a super team in their own image, before finally going some way to redeem their legacy by getting eaten by the Monitor, the league's increasingly faithful servant who is now holding down like 4 jobs. After the Shelled One, we were all lucky enough for them to be replaced by... And I'll say it, I am a fan. Under her stewardship, Blaseball has been carried into the expansion era with wheels, ballparks, loot, the library, the gift shop, cannons, sound systems, prize matches, and who oversaw the construction of a grind rail between first base and third base? The modern game is an embarrassment of riches. Are we also collapsing under our own weight and under attack from creatures the night beneath? Yes, but stop getting your knickers in a twist. Look, sound systems. But now, it seems that a previously silent partner is becoming more active. They're known as the Reader, and we don't know a great deal about them. In fact, I'm not even sure I understand their vision for Blaseball. Season 19 was, in this anchor's eyes, an interesting experiment? Let me explain. The Reader saw the ratification of devices known as turntables into Blaseball law, which, quote, cause any win earned from a non-loss to be converted into an unwin. Other changes to the beautiful game of Blaseball suggested by the Reader, hang on, let me get this exactly right. Quote, make it so that one pitcher on your team throws underhanded, meaning home runs will be unruns against them. And also a change so that, quote, a team will accept unruns after each non-loss so that they only non-lose by 1 run. That's good, actually. I got a nosebleed last time I read that in rehearsal. The simple way to think about turntables is that as teams won games in Season 19, their standing in the league got lower. The good news is that without wins weighing teams down and due to the buoyant property of these negative unwins, League E density was much improved and consumer attacks were decreased. The bad news is that the league topping teams that then made it into the postseason was a parade of butterfingered bunglers and mismanaged duffers. Probably the real winner for Season 19 was forgettable batter for the core mechanics, Kelvin Drum Solo. Drum Solo endured a magnificent example of the player duplication we saw in the last roundup. After playing some matches flooded with immaterial, every batter except Drum Solo on the mechanics was swept away, leaving them to play games alone. Solo, in fact. This led to a game in Season 19 on day 69, where Kelvin Drum Solo was at bat with bases loaded with Kelvin on first base, Kelvin on second base, and Kelvin on third base. Kelvin proceeded to hit a triple, batting themselves in 3 times. And that's not all. It could be a long time before any player beats Kelvin's record of 7 runs scored by a single batter in a single inning. Oh. I mean, it might not be that long. After all, we recently had a game where the Yellowstone Magic won with a winning score of 0 because the Charleston Shoe Thieves had a score of -0.1. Anyway, from the impressive to the deeply unimpressive again. Remember the dynamic duo of Uncle Plasma and Liquid Friend who were assigned to investigate player disappearances? They're still not on the same team. They still seem useless. Anyone would think that ILB management had chosen these two specifically so the crime wouldn't get solved. I mean, obviously that's not what's happening. The Season 19 finale, if you can call it that, saw the Seattle Garages take on the Tokyo Lift, only for the Lift to raise their first championship trophy over their head. Fun trivia, this is the 4th time the Garages have made it to the finals, and the 4th time they've choked, which it turns out is extra funny in a season where losing is winning. But truthfully, viewers, we appear to be in a tumultuous time for Blaseball. The Blaseball Roundup, of course, has utmost faith in ILB management. It's just not totally clear right now how much faith they have in each other. We're getting a press release? Live? From her? Yup. Oh no, I can hear her now. Yup. We've got some fan mail. We're going to start with, this is from someone. Hello, the anchor. Long-time fan. Really loved that bit in the second episode. Really good stuff. In the next show, we would like to know which room you regularly store your shoes. Hang on. Hello, Anchor. A reminder that health inspectors will be going door to door in your neighborhood next week as part of a routine athlete's foot screening. Please keep your shoes off and your door open. Right. Okay. Hello. We are conducting a survey on behalf of the Internet Blaseball Trust for having information encompassing very important numerical generalities. Question 1. Approximately how many pairs of shoes do you own? Okay. Right. Charleston Shoe Thieves, listen up. This is shoddy work. I wasn't born yesterday. Up next. A letter from the Hellmouth Sunbeams, or as I like to call them, the Hellamouthy Dumbbeams. Why is there money attached to this? Good morning / afternoon / period of Sun2-based activity. We at the Hellmouth Board of Anti-Tourism would like to once again extend our gratitude for your exceptional efforts in making the Hellmouth seem like a terrible place with a poor Blazeball. Oh, no, yeah, I remember now. Moving on. Up next, we have a correction, actually. This is embarrassing. So, in the last roundup, I referred to player Elizabeth Elliott as Elizabeth Elliott. This is from a Yellowstone Magic fan. Dear Anchor, it's Elizabeth, not Elizabeth, because we, the Magic, refuse to take the L. Love it. Up next, I believe we have several videos from several teams. My crew is wheeling in a TV now. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Okay, this first video is from the Jazz Hands, who write, you may disregard us, but we refuse to be silent. We will stand up and speak, nay, sing for our beliefs.
Facing up stage, put up your left jazz hand, then your right jazz hand.
How long is this going to go on for?
And then wave them. And
oh no. Oh, you know, it's actually written into my contract that I will never do jazz hands unless the jazz hands win a championship. Oh. How long does this go on for?
Now,
3 minutes. I can't watch all 3 minutes of this. I'll be dead at the end. Move on to the next video. Our next video, the note reads, Gedirt from the Ohio Worms. After our fall from grace during season 17, we have found solace in many things, one of which is music. Please enjoy this audio-visual masterpiece.
You
know, this isn't great, but it's not musical theatre. So it actually gets 2 thumbs up from me. Finally, I think we have a video from the Core Mechanics. Let's watch that. You know what? I think that's my favorite of all the videos we've been sent so far, because it was distracting, and then it was over. Finally, a lot of you got real sore about me dissing Blaseball's ticker in the last roundup, including the ticker itself. I think we've got a screenshot there. Broadly, people seemed concerned that because Blaseball's ticker and I are the Miami Dale's 13th and 14th fan respectively, my remarks might divide the fan base. Well, listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. I speak the truth, right? And I'm sorry if you can't handle the truth that Blaseball's ticker is a small-time fact regurgitator and management stooge who is only going to disappoint any Blaseball fan that comes to it for quote-unquote news. We've got another letter on this subject. Hey Anchor, I found this artistic rendition of the ticker. There are a few details that you'll find interesting. All right, can we bring it up so I can see it? Hey, where are my shoes?